Welcome to this sacred conversation, and today I'm really excited to have Elisa Colangeli on here today. And what I love is I used to do Italian at uni, and I love Italians and Italiano, che bella. So I'm so excited to have you here with your accent and all that, because I really, living in Switzerland, we had all that, but we often went into Italy. And so welcome. I'm just going to light a candle, which I love doing, just to sort of bring the spirits in, the guides for our beautiful sacred conversation. So
thank you, Chantal, for inviting me, and I'm so happy to share my knowledge and a little bit of time with all of you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And what I love about Elisa, we connected through Facebook, like I do with most people and women. And I just loved, what did I do with you? I think I did a 5-day challenge, wasn't it? Art or something really powerful. And I just loved, there was just something there that went, I need to know more about you, because you are an artist, and you told me you are a painter, and I'm still learning to become that. But I love the way, I know what it was. I love the way you just, here it is, just follow your heart and your intuition.
Yeah. Yes, it was my hero challenge, which I delivered last September, and of course I think I will repropose it later on November, maybe, when I will have more free time to arrange everything. But it was really about awakening intuition and tuning in with our root chakra to develop a better consciousness about ourselves and develop self-love. So art was the way I used to help women to find a reconnection with themselves, which is amazing. Art is so powerful in that way. And so I think that one of the most brilliant students, if I can use this name, but we are not students, we are just fellow, artists, everyone, because you took the best of this intuition with your new adventure with Rodin, no? Making art spontaneously during a conversation, which is wonderful. So really fantastic.
Thank you. What I'll just explain to everyone, I've met another girl, an artist too, and she lives in Canada, and we're doing every Monday morning, or in Perth, West Australian time, what we're calling Art Jam for Healing. And because we've both had PTSD, we've both experienced trauma, and we both, looking at art and how does that support us in our lives, and how can we transform that. So thank you, Elisa, because that's something I'm wanting to do with you as well. What can we do to support other women? And create these beautiful connections and create these stories. Because something you said before we started, and I'm not quite sure how we're going to weave this in, you said not following the rules.
Yeah, I am against all the rules, not because I am, a sort of anarchy person, because I am, for example, I am an engineer, so I am all, technical and following the procedures and everything in my really serious life, okay? But I found that I need to, set me free somehow. That's why I started making art, because I wanted to do something that could bring me beauty and freedom, and I could be useful to express myself. That's how I started. And as I don't have a formal education in art, I had to build myself from scratch. And I found some courses on the internet, and so I learned the basics of the technique. But if you ask me if I am a master, I say no. I'm not a master, but I know that in my paintings, I'm able to convey all the feelings that I feel, and all the feelings the person feels if I have a commission, for example. So this is something I really can't define properly, because it's more, it's not an intellectual and logical approach. It's something coming from the art, from the right side of the brain, no? That's what I call. And I think when the heart speaks, really the brain, we can switch it off. and let's give
I
space
like
to
that.
express. And rather than, you know, taking the measurements, okay, we know that the oval face, the mid and the nose, it's midway from the forehead and the chin, so that's okay, wonderful, but then you have to add something from yourself.
Yes.
And that's what makes the difference.
I love that. Oh my God. And I think what's standing out is because as I've mentioned to you before, and letting people know who've watched me before, I do make notes because that's my way of concentrating and supporting myself. But I love that it's turning off when we speak. When the heart speaks, we turn the brain off. I love that. And what I'm finding really interesting listening to you, because I'd forgotten that you're an engineer, or that you, and isn't it amazing how you are working now with both sides of you? You know, that you can work with both the left and the right. Did you have to teach yourself to switch that, or did it come more naturally once you made the decision?
I think it's a decision we make all the time, especially because I find it, and I still have that tendency to be quite a perfectionist.
Yes.
My work as an engineer requires a lot of attention.
Yes.
Because I deal with law and the respect of the law. So really, when you interact with people and you have to check all the things and that have penal consequences, you have to be very, very careful. But that is about my what I would define zone of excellence. So this is something that I've been learning and I am very good at, but it's not my zone of genius. I realized it's not a long ago that when I think about art, when I think about painting, it's not just an hobby for me, but it's my personality that speaks. So yes, my voice of perfectionism always comes up and pops up and say, okay, now you should know everything about this topic before you start even making your hand on, you know, a piece of clay or whatever. But okay, let's see, I have no time to study, so I just have to go and play or do, and that's what I do, because my schedule is full enough, and finding time to nurture my perfectionism is very, very difficult, and it's better.
Yeah, and I thank you for that, because I know for me, even though I had the way my mind was, I was very going, because that was a way of protecting myself, and logical and things like that. So for me to go across has actually is quite a I've got to make quite a big decision and effort to go there. And what I'm finding is as well is that when I sit down, I've got to really let go. And I can't just sit down for a few moments because I'm not there yet. I need time. You know, I need to be able to say I've got 2 or 3 hours. So how you do it in a short period of time, because I know you're busy with work and family and children, you know, I would find that difficult, because ironically, I might need 3 hours of time to do half an hour of art.
What I have experienced is that I can't really stand long session of paintings, because it's like when it drives my energy away from me, because I put too much emotion in that. So I can paint for 1 hour, 2 hours, but I would not be able to stand in front of the easel for half a day.
Yeah.
It's something really, really difficult, because I give too much and I feel exhausted.
Yes, 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 I agree. I suppose it's sort of like learning again, how can you give of yourself, but not so much that you don't end up exhausted? So how are you doing that? Have you got anything in place yet, or are you still, again, learning to do that?
Yes, learning, but without, I think that one of the secrets may be that I don't have to attach myself to the outcome.
Yes.
And I need to be open to just give the right level of importance to the thing, but not too much. And again, we recall perfectionism, you know. This is, I think it's quite a B-side of perfectionism, this thing of giving too much.
Yes, yes. And it's interesting.
Working on.
And say that again.
I'm working on that. I'm working
it's
to
like
create boundaries.
Yes, and I suppose it's like a work in progress. It's a creative in progress. And it brought to mind something when years and years ago I did massages, and I exhausted myself, and a few clients who'd become friends said to me, you don't have to give so much of yourself. So I was giving 150%. They said, if you can give 80% of yourself, you're giving us more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really interesting. So it took me a long time to understand, how do I, and there was people pleasing coming in, and they deserve to have more because they're paying me. So all these things came into play.
Yes, you're right, especially when we speak to people in master classes, or, you know, small challenges which become programs and whatever. We really should keep something for ourselves.
Yes.
Because the tendency is to overgive, and it's overwhelming also for those who receive, because they find, you know, submerged by a lot of stuff, and you master that stuff, but they don't. So step by step, it's quite a balance, I think, between we who give and they who receive.
Yes, and I think also what's coming to mind as well as a society, we expect so much for nothing. So I'm wondering if you agree with this, we've bought into, we've got to give a lot because people expect a lot. So if you do less, they'll think, oh, well, I haven't got value, when in fact they have got value.
So I don't deserve what they give me. Yeah, it's quite, I think it's something with mindset, because unconsciously you don't feel worthy of receiving what they want to pay you. That's what.
That's right. Exactly right. And therefore we've got to overgive, overdo, overplease, no boundaries and all that, because that's something I've had to learn with working with clients. My counselor and supervisors taught me this, how to hold space and know that that is more than that. Sometimes all that someone needs is to just come and talk and be, you know. And I found that initially quite, because I should have been, I needed to fix or be responsible or give more. But no, when you come to a counseling, it's about the client finding what they need. So again, so like yourself, how do you offer that to someone without, as you said, overgiving?
Oh, yeah. It's a balance we constantly search.
Yeah, and we do constantly search. So if you were to get like a commission now, how would you do it differently now? So this is something I would also show people, is how do we set boundaries to know that we all do this?
Oh, last day I was, a couple of days ago, I was talking to my colleague. We shared the room at the office, and she was talking to me about, you know, psychology and the fact that women are so different from men and its effects, no? The mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, whatever. And it came to my mind, it reminded me that at the beginning, I used to paint women portraits by using archetypes. I used Jungian archetypes embodied in Greek goddesses. So I have studied Greek and Latin literature when I was younger. And so I'm quite in love with mythology and whatever is about, you know, Greece and Rome. And so I studied a lot about the 7 archetypes of Greek goddesses, which correspond to several, you know, kind of women. And when I loved a lot. So I think I would do the same approach even today, because I found it absolutely valuable. And my experience taught me that when I interact with a person, I'm quite able to understand what kind of archetype she embodies. We are, you know, we're quite a superposition of more than one archetype, because we are even more complicated than, you know, 7 kind of people. ideal kind of people. But when you try to paint their essence by archetypes, and you use symbols that suggest that one or two are the dominant ones, then the portrait that is the final outcome is quite a celebration of their true self. And by working with archetypes, we can also have an opposite approach. Maybe you want to change something in your personality. You want to, be a better mom, or open yourself to love, for example. So you want to start feeling quite an Aphrodite archetype arising. And then you can do such a portrait, and then it will be quite a reminder for you that you are changing, and so which celebrate the change in that case. So both the approaches are valuable.
I love it. Oh my God, I had no idea. This is why these conversations are always amazing, because we unearth this gold and magic. And so here we are talking to an engineer, yet she's talking at the same time about archetypes, Jung, art. I mean, I think that's amazing. So again, we've got to be careful that we also don't keep ourselves slotted in a way. Now look at you. You've got all these sides happening. That's amazing. Oh my God. And I love that way of looking at how can you, like, I want to be, perhaps embody something that I'm not, or have that reminder, and then you pick up on that. How amazing is that?
Thank you. Yeah, I studied a lot about that. I have a case of a person who was a man who wanted to gift a portrait to his wife, and I was not able to access her because it had to be a surprise. So what I did is that we talked together. He became a friend. I tend to be a friend of male, okay, of men. I am an Athena archetype, so I deal with men more than with women, but that's what I can expect from myself. And so we understood that she was a Hera archetype, so she had felt being in a marriage, and the role of wife was what satisfied her totally. And that's why I painted a Hera archetype portrait. Okay, her face, whatever her features were, okay. But then I added as a symbol some orange flowers, the flowers of the orange tree, that in Italy are the symbol of the marriage. So you see that beautiful, background with white flowers and her face. And when she saw that portrait on her birthday, she said, "Oh, I was afraid of the outcome because I had suspected that my husband was commissioning something like that. But when I saw myself portrayed, I said, okay, Elisa painted me beautiful." So she felt beautiful. She saw herself as beautiful. I think that was the most beautiful testimonial I would get. Really.
Yes.
So
yes, and that's also, and I love what you're saying to yourself, is that you're owning that, because so many of us, have that false modesty or what, whatever. You're owning the power of who you are and what you are able to do, because again, that's something we don't do. We're not allowed to.
Never heard about someone else doing my approach, so I think it's something I invented. I'm not so skilled that I can't imagine. Maybe there is someone else, but as far as I know, I am the only one doing like this. I don't know.
And again, I think what you're doing, and this is what I'm loving, is that we are so meant to conform all the time that we find it hard to find our own uniqueness, how to be different. And I call it unbinding, like untangling ourselves from how we're meant to be. So I feel the gift for me of this conversation, or perhaps it's for me, so anyone else will watch this on you, let me know too. You're giving me the gift of really being able to step out into the fullness of me. You're giving me permission to do that, because you've given yourself permission to do that, and the people you work with, because you're also now, and I've noticed, you're also working with entrepreneurs more.
I'm starting thinking about myself as someone who can really help people being in business to express themselves fully and with more creativity. There are a lot of entrepreneurs who are tired of being entrepreneurs. So they struggle with finding new ideas, new momentum to get in flow. And since I have the most terrible and crazy ideas coming to my mind 24 hours a day, I really can help people nail that secret recipe for something new that they can experience. And for me, it works even too much, because I have to put my ideas in a drawer and then put one idea at a time, because otherwise there would be too many. But I think that maybe I'm ready to guide people for that, starting slowly, and let's see what happens.
And again, I love that, because again, you're segueing. So again, you don't have to say, so yes, you're an engineer. Yes, you've done art. Yes, you've done archetypes, but now you're bringing it together. I've seen you did that beautiful tree for someone. I saw your work and I went, wow, in the simplicity of it, there was such power and essence in that. And I'm loving how actually you're bringing it all together in a way to be able to offer this.
Yes, a bit of language of colors, a bit of composition for the left side of the brain. And then I just hear what other people want to obtain with their visuals, and I just help with them. A little piece of their life, but maybe it's important because they find confidence in that little piece I give them.
That's right. And I think something you said you hear, but I think also not only do you hear, but it's feeling. You actually hear it through feeling. So this is where you hear it rather than hear, is my sense.
That we should not listen with our ears, but feeling with our heart. Yeah.
And that's what you do. And that will therefore, you will really tune into the essence of the person that you're going to support in that way. And as entrepreneurs now, I think people are, from what I'm sensing, because I know I've been through that, tired of how to do things, tired of it being mainstream. There seems to be looking at doing things differently. And I love that. I really love that. And I love what you're doing, because it's like you are also giving the people you work with, the entrepreneurs, also permission to go, it's okay for me to have a different expression of myself.
Yes, you can really spread your wings and fly. Let's run out of the cage, okay? Let's run out of the box. If there is someone who can help you think differently, that's okay. You will see things from different perspective, and it's your choice not to follow up, but then you will have different vision, and that's what opens your mind, really. That's how we grow.
Yes, and I love that, because again, you have that moment in time with them, which is invaluable, because then from there they can it's like a platform you're giving them to jump off, to actually take it beyond.
Yeah, but at least we try to build something different, because otherwise there will be only regrets in your memory, and I really don't want any regret for me and for anyone.
Yeah. And I think that's another really important thing, because when we play safe and hold ourselves, the regrets will come. It's about how can we step out, like you said, and give it a go.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you hold space beautifully like that, because again, having done that, having my moment of time with you, even though it was more in a group setting, I loved it, because I really felt I could share. I love the way you held space energetically for us and took us through the process. So because I was waiting to be opened up, and so you were part of my process, even though it was touching on it. That's what happened. It was beautiful.
Much. It's oh my God. Make my day, because when you don't have the right immediate feedback, you just feel unsafe and unsure about what if you have done well or not, because it was the first time for me, so really I was taking everything slowly and I didn't know what to do. I just did. Thank you so much. It gives me the strength to go ahead and do it
Pleasure.
again and again.
Exactly. Thank you. And I think, again, it reminded me how often we take things for granted. We don't often go back and say thank you to people or like, but the thing is what you're saying here, and this is another message for anyone who's listening, you did it. You had actually no idea what you were doing. You just gave it a go.
Yeah. Yes, and it changed along the way, because it depends even on the kind of people you're interacting with. You can have expectation and theory back in the background, but then you deal with other people's sensitivity and experience, and maybe they are shy and they don't want to express, and they don't want. So it's difficult, and but it's wonderful and it's challenging. That's what I love.
Yeah.
I love challenges. So yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, that is something, that is why I love what you're doing, because you are stepping up to the challenge. You're giving that sense to other women or people as well. Right, come on, let's do this. By you extending yourself, what I'm hearing is you're helping others to extend themselves.
Stretching out a little bit.
Yeah,
a little.
That's right. And that's a little bit. But then I have a suspicion as you get more into this, you'll be able to stretch more and more, because that's how it will grow and expand, you know?
Oh, I am quite in love with high jump. You know why? In the athletics, because you can even get that, stick of wood, I don't know the English name for that, even higher and higher. And
that's right.
That's what I do. I just stretch.
Yeah, and
I'm
I love
still
it.
A limit.
Yeah. And again, I think you're giving me, again, it's like I'm coming back to stretching myself again, and I'm really loving it. But I think from what you're saying as well, it's for those who are not as comfortable with it. It's like we've got to take, so you're going to support women. They might not be ready to do that. They might be ready to do this. And that's what I'm finding. I now know myself enough to go, I can do this, because then I can do that.
Exactly.
And then I'll do, so you're building courage, because they say there's courage in the doing, isn't there?
Yeah. Taking action instead of staying, in front of the window and looking at the people, taking action instead of you.
Yeah. Instead of you, that's exactly it. Exactly, because it's so much easier to look at someone else and admire them, or wish you were them, or even feel perhaps jealous or envious, or oh my God, they can do it, I can't. But they're only doing it because they've done it.
Yeah. Yeah, that must be 1,000 reasons for their acting, and you're not, but you can act as well.
Exactly. And that you can, I think that's a really beautiful message. I'm going to write that you can act as well. And I think coming back to what you've been saying is not following the rules, but you can do it in your own way.
Yes, being authentic and following the guideline of a person who has experience is important, but even tailoring that experience on your shoulders and on your sides is important as well. Otherwise, you don't put your art in the things, and people will feel it.
They will feel it. And what I feel as well, they might not feel it obviously, but it'll be somewhere in the energy. They will feel something.
When I started reading your posts, I immediately understood that you were authentic and you were not pretending, you were not hiding. So it was purely you. And that's what led me to comment and interact. And that's why we're here, basically, because we recognized each other as being authentic. And I really don't want to steal my time with people who pretend, as we were saying before starting recording this conversation. And we have no time. We have no time.
No. Thank you. And that, like you, that touched my heart too, because you never quite know, because I'm like you, I just feel now, because again, we've been taught to post a certain way, say a certain thing, and you've got to think about this way and that. No, for people to work with me, like with you, they need to feel the energy. They need to feel I'm going to include, I'm coming from the heart. Otherwise, how can you make a decision? You need to know me. Because if we're going to because you're doing work too where it's vulnerable and it can be exposing, it can make you feel raw. So you need to trust the person who is, in my case, is the therapist, you as the artist or the branding. You need to know that we are going to hold you without judgment, with acceptance, and to be able to see you arise.
That's something that reminds me something about the human design, which I haven't studied human design, but I know that I am a generator. And when you see the guidelines about the general things about this, I've always been said that I am the witness of my action. So there's no better testimonial than what I did on myself. And that's what you are exactly expressing now. Even without knowing anything about this, you were perfectly right, I think.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. It's interesting you talk about human design, because that's for me a whole nother topic. But as I've been coming out of my funk and being able to stand more in myself, when I was at my worst, I would seek external. I've had the Enneagrams, and I've had Myers-Briggs, and I've had DISC done, and I've had my human design, but none of it actually related. I couldn't relate to it, because I was in trauma and I didn't believe it. But again, I'm realizing, why did I need that? Why isn't it I can't trust myself and believe in myself? So, whereas others go, it's fantastic. It's giving me an idea of who I am. So like, I know I'm Capricorn, but in the end, ultimate.
Yeah, generally, it can give you, some food for your brain, I think, more than really painting exactly who you are. It's impossible.
Well, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. But I think, as you said, that's a whole nother conversation. But again, it's about how can we be true to ourselves? And then in your case, you're being true to yourself. And how can you support someone to be true in their selves? And particularly if you're going to start working with entrepreneurs, that reflects who they are. I love it. I think that's incredibly powerful. Because yes, exactly. Because what you're doing is the opposite to what you're not putting your ideas onto them. You are allowing their ideas to rise up, and then you reflect that back to them. I just think that's so powerful, because then they will take ownership of that symbol or whatever you've created for them.
Yeah, even with the masterclass I will be delivering, it's something about, learning how creativity arises from our head, but even with external influences. And the program that will follow is all about their offering an idea and then developing with me their ideas with multiple choices and many pathways to get there. Yes. And so I will be a physical incubator of their ideas.
I love it. And again, I love the idea of many pathways, because what you're going to do is show them, here's some other options. It might be like, I know when someone was doing my videos for me, I said, look, I want your creativity. And a couple of times it's like, oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know if that's me. But what I loved is that she pushed me to see it differently. So that's what you're going to do, is you're going to say, oh, what about this? It might be pushing your boundary, but hey, let's see if this works. If not, how can we? So again, you can push someone out of their comfort zone to then embrace something new.
Yeah. And that's what growth is, basically. That's how we grow again.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to grow with them, with you. So there's this beautiful, oh my God, I love it. We could sit here for hours and chatting. So as we come to the end, Elisa, just what's one thing you'd like to end on, a little nugget of gold or something you'd like to share for women or people, anyone who's watching, sorry, men as well?
I would just want to say that please don't hide anymore, and smile and be happy.
Yeah.
It's enough.
And I love that. It is enough. Exactly right. That's it. It is enough. Oh, I love this, Elisa. So everyone, when we, if you want to contact Elisa, you've got a Facebook. So just give me that, but I'll also be putting it in the description. So where can they find you?
Thank you. I'm on Facebook, and you can follow me on my profile, which is constantly up to date. Then I have a website. Then you can see all my work and the gallery of my paintings, which are available. And I will leave the link in the comments as well. So
Right.
I am on Instagram as well as Elisa Colangeli Art, and that's it. So I'm really here for everyone who wants a bit of creativity in their life at any level.
Beautiful. Love it. Thank you so much. Anyone you want to leave comments, please do. We'll get back to you. And if anything resonated, because this is what it's all about, is opening up and coming back. Please don't hide anymore. I love that. Thank you. Thanks, Elisa.
Thank you so much. See
Pleasure.
you, everyone.